20,000 fans in here, week in, week out. And that's not even England, but Scotland, and not even Celtics, but Hibs. All of that for 22 players, 1 ball and 2 goals. You get all of that in hockey as well, plus a stick. But not these fans.
Football and hockey certainly play in different arenas, but on similar pitches. In the UK, both sports stand on opposite sides. Exclusivity in hockey versus football for everyone. Professional sports and commerce for the win. More tournaments in hockey for more fans like football. Hockey has always been tied to private schools in the UK, like Edinburgh's Erskine Stuart Melville School. Jolly hockey sticks. That's how many Britons see the sport. Posh and exclusive. At the Paris Olympics, half of the British hockey players were privately educated. Private schools offer fantastic facilities and top-level coaching. Their teams are much more successful than state schools. UK hockey flourishes in elite institutions and wealthy hotspots, like Edinburgh, where 1 in 4 students attend private schools. In the Scottish capital, hockey exists because of these institutions. Erskine Stuart Melville is one of Edinburgh's top hockey schools, and thus one of the best in Scotland.
Hockey's actually the biggest sport in the schools. In terms of participation, it's the biggest one, I would say. And in terms of the curriculum, it's something that all students will do in PE, and then obviously they get to choose it in terms of their games option. And so we have a large number of teams that are competing at all different levels.
But hockey is more than just part of the curriculum. For the school, sport is a major selling point.
Whether it's participation sport, because you learn the values of exercise and enjoyment and sport as fun, or whether it's because you want a high competitive level of sport, then hockey is integral to that, because it gives that extra thing that helps us to sell the school.
Making it much harder for state pupils to hit the ball well. Andy Halliday, former GB hockey manager and ambassador for several hockey charities, warns that hockey remains elitist and misses out on working class talent.
I think there is a middle class feel to the sport. How do we get rid of that? We get rid of that by playing much more in state schools.
Hockey's growth is not just limited in the school system.
I think the other thing, our club structure in the UK, it's a very traditional family atmosphere, I think, hockey in the UK.
This atmosphere thrives in wealthy places like London, home of Britain's best hockey clubs. Hockey pitches in rural areas or working class cities are rarely seen. Football, however, is everywhere. In Britain, there are 24 times more football players than hockey players. England's Premier League is the most watched sports league in the world. Even the Scottish Premiership draws over 12 million viewers each season. On Sky Sports only, football's global success lies in its accessibility. No elitist barriers, affordable club fees and kit instead of costly school fees. Anyone who watches football can play it as well.
To make thousands of fans watch hockey in big stadiums like this, hockey organizations like the FIH would need to make hockey as accessible as football. Let the fans play. Instead, they're focusing on the commercial aspects of football, copying their biggest tournaments.
Much like the Nations League in men's football, the International Hockey Federation, FIH, launched its own League for the Best, the Pro League, raising standards of international hockey and offering more content to a wider audience. A new competition for the top 9 nations in men's and women's hockey to improve the professional sport. These are all nations of the 2024-25 men's season. While national club leagues pause, international squads travel in 3 time periods and play each team twice. After the 1-year season, the winner qualifies for the World Cup, and the table's last relegates to the FIH Nations Cup. More matches to grow hockey with coverage on the highest standards of sports broadcasting. Andy Halliday also commentates Pro League live streams for the FIH.
I think hockey's great. I think we have a brilliant product. I think it's well marketed. I think it's well shown, just the product itself on the Pro League, FIH Pro League channels.
Beyond FIH channels, each participating country gets broadcasting rights for one national outlet. For the UK, Channel 4 has partnered with England Hockey, offering the only free national stream of the Pro League. They cover all English men's and women's matches until 2027. Pete Andrews, head of sport at Channel 4, says reaching a wider audience is the first step in growing the game.
It came to our attention through England Hockey, who were able to come in and talk to us and highlight the fact that we together could enter into a partnership to give hockey a bit of a boost and hopefully bring it to a free-to-air audience. We spoke about using Channel 4 as a platform. We're publicly owned, so it's really good if we can bring sports for free to the audience. Currently, the viewership for hockey in the UK isn't really big enough for it to go on terrestrial television.
For now, the matches are only shown on YouTube, with an average of around 10,000 viewers per match.
I think we would wanting to be going 30,000, 40,000, 50,000, and also seeing a trend going upwards. And then you could think, okay, the demand is there. Right, let's get it on Channel 4 and see how many people we can get to watch it. So I think there is a way to go. Yeah, and if it's up there at sort of 40,000, I think we'll be on TV, no problem. So, but obviously that just means that we're still a little way away from that.
Beyond commercial success, the partnership aims to boost live attendance in stadiums as well. Next stop, London, England's 2025 Pro League series. The Pro League is hosted by all competing nations at least once a season. They travel to each other's countries, playing a series of matches to improve and showcase top talent to fans all around the world.
Lee Valley in London is one of the biggest series in this Pro League season, with an overall of 16 matches. The stadium can hold up to 15,000 viewers. In theory, this means that 240,000 people could watch the matches here in person.
An atmosphere that pushes players to their best level, like England forward Matthew Ramshaw. For him, the Pro League is more than just test matches.
It allows me to learn a lot quicker and a lot faster than maybe it would do if we were just playing test games, because these games still mean something. There's still prize money to be won. There's still obviously qualification for World Cup, I think it is. So there's a bit of pressure behind it, which means that you have to perform. Whereas in test games, maybe you don't always get that pressure.
The 25-year-old has fans at the pitch and on social media. His 18,000 Instagram followers could fill Lee Valley Stadium easily, even at full capacity. Matthew's videos range from behind-the-scenes POV to mental coaching for hockey maniacs or those discovering the sport for the first time.
So I want to show that off to as many people as I can. And even if it means that another, 5, 10, maybe even 50 kids pick up a stick and play more hockey, then that's what it means. That's what matters, really.
Another hockey creator benefiting from a bigger hockey audience on social media is Australian Tim Howard. Nearly 10,000 people follow him traveling the world as a hockey player, at club level and for his national team. Thanks to the Pro League, his journey got even more exciting. Recently, he celebrated his 150th cap. Cheers.
I have a page of all of the stadiums that I've played at, and I think if we hadn't started Pro League, then it would be quite small. But yeah, Pro League's been amazing. We get to travel the world, play in many different stadiums and different places. So yeah, it's very cool.
In the first Pro League season, teams traveled to each opponent's country for one match only. These travel demands led to a new format, a sign of the league's ability to adapt. Now, each season has 3 stages at different countries in November-December, February and June. Plenty places to showcase hockey.
I think for the sport and growing the sport and playing in as many places as possible, I think it's amazing for the sport.
The Pro League is so adaptable because most club leagues are just semi-professional and therefore flexible. Tim Howard has just won the German Bundesliga in June. Last year, the Final Four was brought forward to May because of the Olympics. One of the winners back then was German midfielder Eric Kleinlein, who's currently enjoying the professional environment of the Pro League.
Alles, was in diesem ganzen Adaben Pro League geschieht, es fühlt sich sehr professionell an. Also wenn du auf die Anlagen kommst, du hast klare Abläufe, hast die überall gleich sind, auch von Land zu Land. Ja, man merkt einfach an verschiedenen Dingen, dass es professionell aufgezogen ist. Interview vor den Matches, nach den Matches. Du hast deine Akkreditierung, du kommst in verschiedene Zonen rein.
But the Pro League also comes with downsides. It's another tournament added to an already packed calendar, forcing players to make career-defining decisions.
Die meisten Leute hören wahrscheinlich mit 28, 29, 30 im internationalen Geschäft auf, obwohl du, sag ich mal, bis 32, 33 auf jeden Fall noch im Top-Hockey-Alter auch bist. Ja, und das ist auf jeden Fall dem System geschuldet, dass du dann halt mit der Ausbildung und so, das kriegt man irgendwie noch zusammen gedeckelt. Aber wenn es dann wirklich irgendwie um den Berufseinstieg geht, das ist einfach nicht mehr zu vereinbaren.
Eric's observation is already visible across all nations. This Pro League season, the average player age was under 26, with only 40% aged 27 or older. During the first season, the figures were still above 45% and over 26 years. At the Rio Olympics, less than a decade ago, the average player was 1 year older. Back then, the majority were 27 or older. Fast forward to London, where players like Matthew Ramshaw would love to extend their professional careers, if the sport attracted enough attention and income to make a living from it.
I think what needs to come more into hockey is the stories and like the documentary side of things. So following a team, following a player, getting their side of the story. I think if you just put highlights out there, people don't actually get to understand what the player's like, what it's like to be part of the team.
So-called docu-series have become crucial in sports storytelling ever since Drive to Survive, Netflix's behind-the-scenes look at Formula One. With over 700 million viewers, the show helped boost F1's global audience by 33% in just 5 years. Blending the drama of live sport with TV storytelling techniques creates the so-called halo effect. New fans with more knowledge and deeper engagement. No wonder hockey professionals like Matthew want to tap into that effect and build a lasting audience. But the huge investment required has created a survival of the fittest market, dominated again by sports giants like football. The production quality is too high for smaller sports to compete. Similar hockey projects, like following German league players, shouldn't aim for viewership only. They'd rather spark interest in playing, eventually even offering real access to the clubs portrayed. New competitions like the Pro League could be the perfect fit for such formats and new voices. But the FIH and national bodies prefer to work with established outlets, rather than small or independent storytellers.
As you can see, the Pro League in London has now finished, and still, this is the closest I can get to report on the Pro League. I've been in touch with the England press office for weeks, and they've been telling me until the last day of the series, until yesterday, that I might get access, but I didn't. The only way I could enter the pitch was with a £55 ticket. And even then, I wasn't allowed to film, although I organised all the interviews with the professional players on my own.
The FIH seems slow to adopt a more open policy, not just toward media, but even towards some of the smaller FIH nations. New Zealand's Black Sticks withdrew from the next Pro League season due to financial and geographical barriers. After winning the Nations Cup in May, they qualified for the Pro League. But when they reviewed the costs 2 years after their last participation, they realized
the current format is expensive, travel heavy, and limits home games.
In their last Pro League season 2022-23, New Zealand's Black Sticks played at home, in India, the Netherlands, and Belgium. A Pro League journey of close to 40,000 miles. Travel expenses alone reached over £90,000. Central European countries like the Netherlands travelled less and only paid £40,000. But even those countries consider overall costs of £1 million for one Pro League season. Spendings New Zealand Hockey could never cover, with state funding worth £650,000. Their Australian neighbours, though, received an equivalent of £10 million last year. This leaves a massive competitive disadvantage, as government support remains the most important source of funding in hockey. And the FIH doesn't pay anything for playing the Pro League. But the Black Sticks aren't alone. Scotland's Blue Sticks have just won the Nations Cup too, and they are also struggling to accept their qualification. Scottish Hockey can't afford £500,000 as base costs for all 2026 FIH and Euro Hockey competitions. To be able to compete, they even launched an online fundraiser. So far, they've only received £3,000. But more importantly, there is a massive gap in governmental grants between all UK national bodies. Northern Ireland is not mentioned, as players can join both GB or Ireland. While Wales and Scotland both get roughly the same, £800,000, England receives nearly £2.6 million, plus another £4 million from the UK government, as the only home nation. Being independent gives Ireland the opportunity to compete at the Olympics and come a bit closer to England's numbers. Olympic funding in the UK is again fully controlled by England Hockey, a £15 million grant split into £3 million each year. Although GB Hockey talks a good game of equality, Scotland and Wales miss out completely. Most GB coaching staff work for England Hockey. Every training session is held in Bishop, close to London. And even when it comes to players, 28 spots in each GB team are reserved for English players. Right now, there are only 2 Scottish players. They are helping to win further GB fundings at the Olympics, but have to pay for tournaments with their home nation. Each Scottish international had to contribute £300 for their successful Nations Cup. Welsh players pay £1,500 every year. All GB players, in contrast, are professional and get tax-free salaries between £20,000 to £30,000 a year. Suffering under the FIH inequalities, Scottish players have created a mantra, training for the federation's biggest competitions without knowing if they can even enter, although they are already qualified.
Is that game over for Scotland's Blue Sticks? Just like in the UK, elitism exists on the global stage of hockey as well. The FIH wants to attract the world, but only focuses on a dozen countries. GB Hockey promotes equality, but is in fact England's monopoly. And in Scotland, the majority of youth talent remains unseen.
The progress might seem slow and misled, but hockey is becoming more professional. Players involved in the Pro League not only experience professionalism, but they also benefit producing content or travelling the world. Lee Valley in London was sold out multiple times during the Pro League series. And Pete Andrews still hopes to bring hockey on Channel 4 itself and goes even further. Currently, hockey is trying to compete with football using the spear of Goliath. But hockey might focus more on their own base, players who could become fans, the sport's ground, because the ground is where David would find his stones.